Hi, Year 11. This is a lesson I want those of you to do who have chosen their final menu but haven't written their reasons for choice. So I'm just going to talk you through the next slide, which will explain to you a few of the things that you need to cover in your reasons for choice. It's really important that we have a really detailed list of reasons that you've decided on the menu that you've decided on. So firstly, this piece of work is going to be approximately, say, an A4 side of paper if you're doing it properly. You've got to remember to use technical language where possible. This is going to access you more marks. And the first thing you need to do is state what your final dishes are. So try and state what all the components of your final dishes are. So if you're doing a pizza, you're doing a salad with a dressing, or if you're doing a lemon meringue pie and you're doing a coulis or something to go with it, then you need to define all the different things that are in your menu. And your opening statement is going to suggest how the dishes relate to the task that's set. So we all know the task is that has been set is to come up with a picnic menu that could be had at a music festival. So you need to relate that opening sentence to the fact that it's a menu that is suitable for a picnic, talking about how easy it is to eat in your hands, to carry, to package, maybe discuss how it would be packaged and presented as a menu. And the other things that you can mention are listed below the bullet pointed lists. You can talk about the skills that you are showing. So if you're doing, for example, as I suggested, a lemon meringue pie, there's lots of skill in that dish. It's a high skilled dish. It uses pastry, uses the lemon curd mixture, and also the egg white foam, which is your meringue that goes on the top. So it's a high skilled dish. So talk about the skills that are in each of your dishes. Talk about the variety of colours and textures that you've got in your food. So if you're making a pizza, then you're going to have, it's going to be quite a colourful product because of the toppings that you're going to put on the top of the pizza. Talk about time and how you're going to prepare and cook all your dishes. So how you're going to dovetail. Now dovetailing means you do part of one dish, you stop, leave it, and then move on and do another part of another dish. If you're making bread, for example, you can make the bread dough. You can leave the bread dough to rise, and while you're getting on preparing the filling, portioning the chicken, depending on what you're doing for your filling. You can talk about how easily the food is portion controlled. That's going to be important for a picnic because you want food to be easy to eat, easy to portion. Talk about how you're going to make the dishes look attractive. What different cooking methods that you're using the oven, maybe if you're using a microwave, if you're using a food processor or a whisk. So trying to get a range of equipment in your food preparation would be good. You could discuss who the meal would be aimed at. So these dishes are aimed possibly at younger people. You could say, as it's a music festival, we can talk about later on. You can talk, I think the last bullet point suggests that that might link to the season. So that's probably going to be spring and summertime, most of the times that you would have music festivals. So you've chosen the food that's linked to that. You can talk about how you've done that, maybe using seasonal foods. You could talk about you could also talk about if there's any healthy aspects to your menu, whether you've tried to cut down on the fat, the salt, the sugar, or the fibre, increase the fibre, talk about nutritional value, although this maybe isn't that important in this sort of brief, because you're not looking at necessarily producing nutritious food, but showing an understanding of nutrition would be good in reasons for choice. You could discuss briefly costs, and how the dishes may be good value for money. Again, cost wasn't an implication that was mentioned in the brief, but it might be a consideration to make, especially if your target group is young people. You could talk about ethical issues, whether you would choose to use free range products, whether you would choose to use organic products. Obviously, that's going to link with the cost. And you don't have to make those choices. You can just suggest that it will be a consideration or something that you could do with your menu choices. So I've given you a range of sentence starters you could choose to use if you're finding it difficult to get started on this particular piece of work. It's always really good in your reasons for choice to relate your ideas and thoughts back to your research. If you find something out in a survey from your research that you can say that impacts on your choices, for example, you might have found out that pastry was a popular dish for picnics, therefore you have chosen to make sausage rolls. You might have found out you might have done a skills audit and find pastry as a high skilled dishes. So any reference to research you can make in your reasons choice would be great. So happy for you to write your reasons for choice just on a simple Word document. That needs to be either sent to me via Show My Homework, or it needs to be uploaded on your Teams channel so that I can get it printed off and put in your folder ready for when you return. Try and make it as detailed as possible, try and use lots of technical language, and it's really important that everybody has a reasons for choice to slot into their work that's going to be assessed. So I'm also going to do a quick presentation on how to write a time plan, which should set us up for later on in the week.